Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ronnie Garvin Stories from the Road to the Ring. And I'm here with the star of Stories from the Road to the Ring, none other than the star himself, Rugged Ronnie Garvin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Want to say big hi to the listeners.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. I'm just waiting. I just turned on the TikTok, so we'll see what happens here. So for those of you watching on TikTok, you're hearing me, but you'll be listening to Ron Garvin. And later on, I need you guys to subscribe to Don Devine on YouTube so you could actually see the man himself, Rugged Ronnie Garvin, the living legend. And you'll hear and see what he has to say. So, how's everything going? What you been up to today?
Well, we just got back from the gym.
Okay,
Yeah, gym day, Friday, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Too
Sounds
bad
like.
have.
Oh man, nice, nice, nice. I wanted to share something with you. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up right now. Okay, perfect. This is it. All right. Your good old buddy was on the podcast, well, on his podcast as far as Jim Cornette. And Jim Cornette had some stuff to say. Okay, we got people piling in on TikTok. Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? I'm here with Rugged Ronnie Garvin himself. Say hello one more time, Ron, so they can hear you.
How y'all doing?
There you go. There you go.
I got a question for you. Are you a combat sports fan? Whether it's boxing, wrestling, or mixed martial arts. It's all combat sports. So show your support and order the Step Into the Squared Circle merch. How do you do that? It's real simple. Just go to dondavine@gmail.com. That's DONDAVINE@gmail.com. And we're going to need your Cash App name. We're going to need your full name. We're going to need your mailing address and t-shirt size, as well as t-shirt color. It comes in black and athletic gray. And after you're done doing that, you can send your payment to $Don Devine. That's $DONDAVINE. Get it done because
In order.
So, Jim Cornette had some interesting things to say about you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play it right now, and I want to hear your thoughts on what you thought about that. All right. So let's see. 1 second. Damn commercials. Well, no, let me not say damn commercials. That's how we get paid, right? Advertisement, advertisement. All right. Here you go. Let me play it. Let me know if you can hear it.
Natural tough guy accent. There aren't a lot of Canadians that have a natural tough guy accent. Ronnie Garvin, everything he said, he sounded like it was like almost standoffish.
Yes. And not only with the accent, but the expression on his face, and then you'd watch him in the ring and you go, I'll just be over here. I don't want to him. It was scary to work with him, and I knew he was working with me. But when he made his comeback in Charlotte, I've thrown powder in his eyes. He's already gotten juice for me for the knucks, so he's bleeding. And we're inside the cage, and finally he jerks me down off the cage, and he gets on top of me, and he's standing over me, and he's going to throw the hands of stone down to the forehead, right? And as I looked at the look on his face, I swear to God, that must have been what Jack the Ripper looked like when he was about to dive in on fucking... God damn it, I'm scared. And boom, three of them, I never felt any of the three of them. And then he snatched me around the neck, throttling me with the intent to kill. And I never felt that. And then the referee counted three and the doors opened and the boys came in to save me. But he was unbelievable. Very convincing.
Which Ronnie Garvin do you prefer? Ronnie Garvin with kind of the floppy hair, or Ronnie Garvin with the flat top?
Actually, Ronnie from, what was it, 1983 maybe in Georgia, that period of time through the end of the Crockett years was the closest thing to the real Ronnie Garvin, because he dropped the gimmick he'd had in the 70s as a heel, and then in Southeastern he would kind of look sometimes like a fucking hippie, and he had dark hair. A hippie in terms of he dressed in a fucking tie-dyed t-shirt and jeans, whatever the fuck. But Ronnie Garvin of that 80s period, when he was just working out in the gym and going in the ring and stretching job guys and having those physical matches with Flair and working that style, that was the club, the Hands of Stone, the whole nine yards. He was an incredible worker to make you believe two guys were having a fucking struggle.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. So you talked about your times in Crockett and stuff like that. So what do you have to say so far about the intimidating part?
Well, I came from the old school, 1962. Wrestling was totally different than it is today. And I had good people. I had a coach. He was an ex-wrestler. And back then, even the promoters, they wanted guys that look legit. What do you think? I tell people, what do you think? They got some guys that was in the Olympics. You can't get any more, believable than guys that been to the Olympics, and especially what's his name in WWE, gold medal and all that. What was his name?
What, Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle. Anyway, so I trained that way. The first thing, if you want a reaction from people, they got to believe they see a real fight.
Right.
Okay. First of all, and you can't be going out there, sloppy, get on your knees and beg, don't hit me, and all of that. So much bullshit, the guys doing. They don't realize it doesn't look realistic. If you're a wrestler, you're going to drop on your knees and beg your opponent to not hit you?
Right.
Hey, really, common sense. Common sense works everywhere. Anyway, and that's how I used to work. And when I hit somebody, I touched them.
You really
Didn't hurt a whole lot, but there's a way of doing things, and stay in shape. So you're not out of breath, your belly's hanging over, and you. How many times have you seen that in the ring? You're supposed to be an athlete. Go to the gym, work out. You got to spend time. You got efforts, a lot of efforts.
Right.
And there was a lot of guys that I get in the ring, and I don't know if they got nervous, thought I was really going to hurt them, but big believers out of them, And Jim Cornette, I take it as a compliment, because that was my living. That's how you make money. That's how you draw crowds. Anyway, yeah, Cornette, I always liked the guy. Real good guy. He's a hell of a talker, and he was a good manager. He's a very articulate guy, so he was in the right business, So, but I remember that when he was in the ring with me, he looked petrified. He said I looked like a maniac or something like that, but he looked petrified. So I don't know if he was acting doing that, but he did a hell of a job looking petrified.
Oh man. Do you know that you was rated to have one of the best workers punch? Like when you actually wrestled in there and you threw a punch, it actually looked like you was throwing a punch in a brawl, in a bar brawl. Like you look like a real legitimate punch.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, when I first got into wrestling, and I didn't see a whole lot of TV earlier, my first year or two, but later on when they were studio wrestling in the television,
Right.
uh, I went home and saw some of the videos of that, and I was my own worst critique.
Hmm.
If I saw something that didn't look good, I never done it again. Well, I tried to perfect it, and if I could, I eliminated it. And there was one move in wrestling that I looked like a douchebag. That's the way I put myself. Drop kick. You know, a drop kick in wrestling.
Yep.
There
Yep.
was some guys that the drop kicks, man. It looked like it took the other guy's head off. You know, and they could get high. You know,
Right.
and I tried it, so I just dropped it. I said, you know, you don't do things that don't look good. You know, would you go in if you're a singer, go in a concert and sing a song that you know the half note, you know, and
No.
so you get the best, you know,
Right.
you know, and that's you know, wrestling to me was a business,
Right.
and I was not too people, you know, they were overwhelmed themselves about thinking, oh, I've had wrestlers would go in a place. Do you know who we are? I used to get so embarrassed, I wanted to turn around and leave. You know, do we know who we are? That part of the wrestling, uh, I was not interested in it.
Right.
It's a job. It's a job. I make a living, feed my family, work on my retirement, and and that was strictly business. You know, the accolades and all of that. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Even when I go sign autographs on those places, you're a legend. Well, to me, that's, you know, I don't think so. But it's a compliment, you know, and if that's what they think, it's fine. But you know, it's not really needed for me. It's just,
So, so he
I'm just,
started. Cornette started talking about your times in the Crockett promotion. Was there a different? Were you a different Ron Garvin in the Crockett promotion than you were in other promotions?
yeah. Well, I started. I was a heel, you know,
Oh,
because I like it. I beat the dog shit out of some of those guys. You know, I I had a style. If you go back and when I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, in '76 through
uh,
1980, maybe, uh, I had a gimmick like Steve Austin.
right.
I was before he was, you know, and I don't know. I don't think he copied me, but that was my gimmick. I'd throw cokes in people's face, beer, uh, chairs, and I was, and then I even threw a championship belt over a bridge in the river in Tennessee.
That
Uh,
was that was before The Rock. I believe The Rock and Stone Cold had that. The Stone Cold did that gimmick one time, but this
yeah,
was
well,
years.
I did that in 77, 78.
Oh
So
wow.
something in the 70s. Yeah. And I got over, and at first I went into Knoxville, and I was a villain, and people just like Steve Austin, people eventually start cheering for me,
Right.
and so the promoters saw that, and you know, I even mentioned it. I said, you know, I should be wrestling against these bad guys, you know. Uh, so you know, and that's what happened. And I got I had the nickname of the one man gang for a
Right.
long time, you know. And the one man gang gimmick comes from a guy, not the guy that was in New York,
Mhm.
you know, that was way back from he wrestled in Canada one season. He
Mhm.
was uh he was a one man gang. I can't remember his name, but below that's back in early '60s.
Mhm.
So that goes way back, and then it's like the nickname of the Hands of Stone. What's his name used to be? I'm bad on names. It's terrible. He was an announcer in Florida
Um,
for.
I'm trying to remember myself.
He was one of the best, one of the
Uh-huh.
best, and
Uh
start calling me the Hands of Stone on television when we
okay.
were in Georgia, because
Uh,
when I used a punch to knock out, you know, and that's when he came up with that, the Hands of
mhm,
Stone.
mhm,
So I didn't give those names myself. It was somebody else that gave. And I had a habit. I had all kinds of names. Mr. Fort Myers. I wrestled in Fort Myers way back in, I want to say 66, 67.
Okay.
Uh, and I eventually had a match. I can't remember who I was wrestling. A loser leave town. And I
Okay.
lost. I lost the match, and I came back with a mask. And I called myself Mr. Fort Myers. And so I was there for almost, I'd say 6, 8 months. And they were trying to take my mask off. That was interesting, because I do interviews, and the announcer would say, "Well, I don't think you're Mr. Fort. I think you're Ronnie Garvin." I said, "No, I'm Mr. Fort Myers." Well, why do you have a RG on your boots? I said, "Well, that means I'm a rough grappler." I would come up with names like that. And it got over anyway. It was successful, and we were making money. And then I went to another town, did the same thing in O'Galley, Florida, and I became Mr. O'Galley, like I did in Knoxville. I was Mr. Knoxville for
Okay.
probably 5, 6 months until I, you know, got the mask off. But that was a way of people loved it, and of course you got to have some good competition, guys that know how to wrestle. You know, you got to have good talent.
Right.
If you just can't pick some guys. I don't want to knock anybody, but there's some guys that I didn't want to work with because there was no money there.
Right.
There was no money there. You're not gonna, you know, they just didn't have it. Maybe they come later, but
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
when you wrestle with some guys you click with, just like Jake the Snake Roberts. My God, I had some unbelievable matches. Greg
Oh,
Guy, Valentine, Ric Flair,
I
Ted DiBiase, Tully Blanchard, uh,
I
what's
I
his name? Anderson, not
Mr. Wonderful.
no, yeah, Mr. Wonderful,
Yeah.
uh, Arn Anderson. Oh,
Yeah.
Arn Anderson, one of the best, man. I mean, we had some, I remember all that. You know, that's why
Um.
to me the question when people says to me, "Who is the best wrestler in the business?" I think there's a bunch of them. It's just
Right.
not, you know,
Right.
not just one.
Right.
They're probably pretty close to it, but and then you got some that are so. You get that in every sport
Right.
and
Right.
everything.
I stumbled upon a match. You mentioned Jake the Snake Roberts. I stumbled upon that match for the first time. I never seen that match with you and Jake the Snake Roberts. I think this was in. I don't know if this was in ICW or it was a Florida. It was in Florida, but you
It
guys
was
had an
ICW.
ICW. Now I know. Let me tell you
Is
something. I know. I
that the
know.
one with the rap match?
No, no. It was just a regular. It was just a regular one-on-one match.
Okay.
Um, I know you've noted that the best matches you've had was with Greg the Hammer Valentine, but I do dare say I've seen you with some excellent matches with Jake the Snake Robert, with
Oh yeah.
Mr. Wonderful,
Yeah.
and Mr. Wonderful also loved wrestling you because he loved your style of wrestling, the snug style.
Yeah.
So he
Oh yeah.
also enjoyed wrestling with you as well.
You're right. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. There's not just one. That there's a lot of good guys that knew how to work.
Hmm.
You know.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right, Mr.
Yeah,
Wonderful, and then Mr. Wonderful. What was his name?
it was Miss Paul Orndorff. You took,
Paul
um,
Orndorff. Oh, I
yeah,
had some great matches with him.
yep,
And that was after I had retired. That was in
right.
Knoxville when what's his name was promoting now at Knoxville. Cornette. Cornette was a promoter, and that was early '90s. And I
Gotcha,
would go to. I came back in the ring and wrestle Paul Orndorff.
gotcha, gotcha.
My name is Marvelous Mike Morales. I'm going to show you Dean the Destroyer.
My name is Dean the Destroyer, and I'm about to destroy Marvelous Mike Morales. I'm coming for you!
Here is our main event of the evening. Making his way down the aisle weighing 2,000 megatons. He is from out of this world. His name is Marvelous Mike Morales. And now, his opponent, making his way down the aisle from parts unknown, weighing in at 195 pounds. Here is Dean the Destroyer.
Step into the squared circle. Fight. Round one. Fight.
Yes.
All right, then.
1 point for blue.
I'm gonna lock in.
Dean the Destroyer. Round two. Fight.
I'm gonna lock in. Unless you
1
get that
point
one.
for red. Marvelous Mike Morales. Final round. Fight. And the winner is red. Marvelous Mike Morales. Hey guys, and remember, step into the squared circle and get your t-shirt today.
Right now!
Yeah.
Just go to dondavine@gmail.com. That's DONDAVINE@gmail.com. And we're going to need your Cash App name. We're going to need your full name. We're going to need your mailing address and t-shirt size, as well as t-shirt color. It comes in black and athletic gray. And after you're done doing that, you can send your payment to $Don Devine. That's $DONDAVINE.
Okay, so let's continue with this. Let's hear what some more stuff Jim Cornette had to say about you.
And those matches, when he was just working out in the gym and going in the ring and stretching job guys and having those physical matches with Flair and working that style, that was the club, the Hands of Stone, the whole 9 yards. He was an incredible worker to make you believe two guys were having a fucking struggle. And those matches with Flair, even in a TBS studio, where it sounds like rifle shots when they're smacking each other. And just it looks like they're trying to gouge each other's eyeballs out like this fucking match has gotten out of hand type of thing. People have overlooked that because it's not as celebrated as some of the other stuff.
It's not just Flair. The other day after we heard about Black Bart, I went to look for some Black Bart footage just to, for the first time in a while, watch some, and it was him against Ronnie Garvin at the TBS studio. Ronnie Garvin slapping the shit out of him. Just,
and that's the thing, is that the people believed in him somewhat, and he believed in a lot of that too. And he and Orndorff, talking about wrestling, had great in-ring physical matches because the Orndorff liked that shit also. But they knew how to work too, and blah blah blah. Anyway, I like that because it was more natural. But I mean, remember he was really bleached blonde with Ron and Terry Garvin with manager Jim Garvin. There's Terry in a goddamn negligee, and Garvin is dressed in like a skinny Oliver Humperdinck because he's just happy to be there. He's 18 years old, and there's Ronnie, probably one of the toughest guys in any locker room, and he's got the combed over long blonde hair and wearing a fucking purple jacket. It didn't fit. But he finally blossomed as a single. I think that was the best Ronnie.
When I first became a fan in 1989, one of the first feuds, in the middle of all the big things like Ultimate Warrior versus the Heenan family and Hogan versus Savage and Zeus, Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. You know, which is interesting when you think about like 1989, 1990 WWF. Well, those gimmicks, you never think about those two, but they had a program where all of a sudden on TV, they had a match. I think it went like this. They had a match for no good reason. Shivani was at ringside because they were trying to find a way to use him on the shows. And he interviewed Greg Valentine. He challenged Ronnie Garvin to a loser leaves town match, or a loser must retire match. Ronnie Garvin loses. They make him a referee, a troubleshooting referee, which was entertaining. He was good as the babyface referee, fucking over the heels. Then they made him a ring announcer at SummerSlam where he started to insult Greg Valentine. And then they finally had the blow-off match at SummerSlam. And again, in a sea of gimmicks, to me as a kid, that match worked. That match registered. And it had the one funny moment when Ronnie Garvin blocked the figure four because he had one of those, what was it called? The Greg Valentine. The shin guard. No, but Greg Valentine had a specific name for it. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But he had one too, and he was, making faces at Greg Valentine while in the figure four. But, yeah, underrated feud, I think. Ronnie Garvin and Greg Valentine.
Here's another thing some people may not know, that Ronnie Garvin's nickname in Southeastern wrestling in, 79, 77 probably, 77, 78, 79, and then he broke off and went to ICW, was the one-man gang.
Yeah.
One-man gang, Ronnie Garvin. They broke in, big kid named Crusher Broomfield, and when he left and went to Mid-South Wrestling, that's when he started using the name One Man Gang. That's where it came from.
You want to talk about One Man Gang, Ronnie Garvin, specifically in Knoxville, and the footage ended up being used forever on ICW TV. The footage of him and Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Which is like the biggest ass-kicking I've ever seen Andre take from Ronnie Garvin in that match. And Ronnie Garvin's a tough guy, but what was he, 5'10", 5'11", maybe?
No. It was... I don't want to swear, but 5'9" is what I would say. But,
oh, wow.
Well, maybe 5'10", but at the same time, 230 pounds or whatever in fucking shape. He wasn't in the lean shape in Knoxville that he was later on for Crockett, but he was always in shape, and he could always go, and he could do that shit. But here's the thing. It was... As I recall, and I'm willing to let a Knoxville historian correct me, but Ronnie Garvin had been working a deal with Roy Lee Welch. Remember the Welch family? Roy Lee was, God damn it, the nephew of, never mind. It'll take us too long down.
Roy Lee was Lester's son.
Roy Lee was Lester's son. There you go. And...
Well, before I let them continue, so you heard what they had to say about you and Andre. so is that true? So Andre, the only person to give Andre an ass kicking like that, especially at a younger age, the younger Andre, was actually you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got videos of that. I got what it was is he came to Knoxville. Well, I knew Andre. I knew him when he came to Canada first. I had met him, and then later on. And he was in decent shape. He was just big. He was not as big as at the end. He was probably 300 pounds, 275, 295. He was huge, but 7'4", And so I knew him from way back. He had come to my house a few times, and I had invited him. And, obviously my wife had cooked more food than for 10 people. He didn't eat very much. He was a big drinker, and so people that drink a lot, well, I guess you're not as thirsty. So I knew him pretty well, and I never thought he would do that, go in the ring and what I did to him, and I actually beat him, but it was a disqualification.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What it was is they taped Probably, I think it's 4 minutes of the match, and then cut the camera, and then the rest of the match, the ending and all that was never on record on anything, on camera, because that would have hurt him down the road,
Right.
especially if he wrestled Hogan in New York and all of that.
Right. I was about to bring.
What happened is that he had thrown me in a rope or something, and he charged me to give me a big tackle, and I had moved out of the way, and he fell backwards in the ring, and he was close to the rope, and I just dove on him, trying to pin him, and him being so strong and having long arms, when the referee counted to 3, at the same time, he was pushing me off, and I went right over the top rope on the floor, and that was an automatic disqualification.
Wow.
So I won because he got disqualified. But I had pinned him, but that didn't count. The first thing the referee had seen was over the top rope.
Gotcha.
It was, it made sense, So I never pinned him, but I beat him over the head with chairs, came off the top rope on him. I mean, I did it. I'll have to show that to you one day.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. Yeah, because what they did is they had videoed that, and they wanted to keep it. Later on, they did a special on me.
Mm-hmm.
All the fights I had, parts of them, the match, boom, 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 and it's all on that tape. But the ending of that match with Andre was never shown, didn't exist on camera.
Wow. And if you think about it, the internet existed back then in '87. WrestleMania 3 probably wouldn't have happened.
Probably
well,
not.
The main event. Yeah.
Well, I had somebody, I can't remember who it was, that had tried to call me, and they had heard that I had beat them in Knoxville, and they wanted to see the tape. They wanted to buy it. I can't remember the guy's name. He was from Kansas City, I think.
Right.
And that was before he wrestled Andre. They wanted, I guess, to hurt Vince, his promotion. But I told him, I says, it don't exist. Somebody knew that they had videoed part of it, but not the end. So, because they probably would have showed it all over the TVs.
Oh yeah,
be beaten, especially a pin. Try to pin an elephant.
But listen, I guess they would have to give Hogan some step aside money and put you in the main event for wrestling.
He did. He was on the ground more. I had him on his knees, man. I pounded him. I hit him over the head with chairs. I rolled him. I shoved him, and he was laying on his back, and I jumped with both feet in the stomach. Then I climbed the top rope and jumped on him. He was on the ground for, I looked like a King Kong. He was one of the best guys you could have ever meet. If he liked you, he would do anything. And him and I we were pretty close friends.
I was about to say, it's safe to say that shows that big amount of respect that he must have had for you, for him to let you go over like that in that match. Yeah.
Oh, I realized that. I couldn't believe what he did. He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to do any of that.
Oh wow.
I got a question for you. Are you a combat sports fan?
Yeah!
Whether it's boxing, wrestling, or mixed martial arts. It's all combat sports. So show your support and order the Step Into the Squared Circle merch. How do you do that? It's real simple. Just go to dondavine@gmail.com. That's DONDAVINE @gmail.com. And we're going to need your Cash App name, you're going to need your full name, you're going to need your mailing address and t-shirt size, as well as t-shirt color. It comes in black and athletic gray. And after you're done doing that, you can send your payment to $Don Devine. That's $DONDAVINE. Get it done because
An order.
All right, so I'm going to continue playing some more of this. Let's see what he had to say.
And Rock was, God damn it, the nephew of, never mind. It'll take us too long down.
Roy Lee was Lester's son.
Roy Lee was Lester's.
Wait, who is Roy Lee?
Lester Welsh's son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what happened is before that, the reason Andre came in is because Joe LeDuc and Roy Lee tag team against me, and I can't remember the opponent. I mean, my partner, But I had a partner. It was a tag team, and I crippled Roy Lee. I broke his hand, supposedly, on the post, wrestling post outside the ring. I banged his arm against a metal post, and then he was wearing a what do you call it when you had a broken arm?
A cast.
Cast. He had a cast on his arm. And he went on TV and he challenged me. And he was going to bring somebody to kick my ass, And we knew Andre was coming in because Andre had been advertised, a couple of weeks before.
Right.
So it was going to keep it a secret. They made me sign a contract because I was bragging. I was a one-man gang. I'll wrestle anybody. King Kong, you name it. I'll wrestle an elephant, a gorilla, bring it. And I signed. I said, I'll sign it. So I signed the contract. This was on TV. And then I find out who I'm wrestling. And I went nuts. Andre the Giant, he's going, well, everybody's sure that I'm going to get my ass kicked. So, he drew a hell of a crowd. The place was packed. Coliseum. Yeah. And, yeah. So, and the match was a handicap match. Was Roy Welsh and Andre the Giant against me. But of course, Roy Welsh didn't wrestle. He stayed on the apron because he had a broken arm. But it was booked as a tag team. As a handicap match. Handicap. Like, of all people to do that with. And Andre went for that,
Wow.
Andre went for that.
So that one-man gang character, out of all the characters that you played, which one was the most memorable and the most strongest character that you played?
I think the one-man gang.
One-man gang. And how long?
I was the big guy that nicknamed himself the one-man gang. What's his name? I'd get in the ring, man, and they'd send 2 or 3 guys. And I'd beat the shit out of all of them. Boom, boom. I was all over the ring, man, knocking people out and shit, and chairs, and I was like Steve Austin, how crazy he was, which is a good gimmick. It's a good gimmick.
Wow.
I got over, and then when I got the Hands of Stone, well, that stayed, that was what's the guy from Florida? God. He was one of the best announcers in the country. Gordon Soley.
Soley, yep.
Gordon Soley. He's the one that started the one-man gang. The Hands of Stone.
Question: was the Ronnie Garvin, the rugged Ronnie Garvin, was it like a spin-off of the one-man gang, or those were 2 separate, different characters? The rugged Ronnie Garvin and the one-man gang. 2 separate.
Well, no, it's not. A little bit different. I want to. The name Rugged Ronnie Garvin was
Vince
McMahon. Vince McMahon, give me the name Rugged. He had to put, every time somebody came in, he had to. Well, he said I look rugged. Well, so I guess I looked the part, and I didn't care. Call, I didn't care. As long as I got paid, I didn't care.
Right,
Call me.
right.
What?
Oh, man.
I'm from Vince, which was a good name. Vince is very smart,
For copyright emphasis. He wanted to tweak certain things just to make it his own creation.
Yeah, just put his touch to it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I don't blame him. That was his business, and I was kind of an employee. I didn't mind. It's better than being named some goofy names, like the Red Rooster.
Oh man, get it. Oh,
Man, I think I choked to death the guy. Somebody would have called me a Red Rooster. I would have lost my mind.
they're technically calling you you know what? A cockadoo. Oh man. So okay. All right. So let's just get through this interview, and then we have some other another topic I want to touch on. But let's see what
So there you go. Was God damn it, the nephew of never mind. It'll take us too long down.
Roy Lee was Lester's son.
Roy Lee was Lester's son. There you go. And Ronnie Garvin, and somewhere or another, Ronnie Garvin said, "I can beat you and any of your fucking friend," with one of those type of deals, and they booked it Andre the Giant and Roy Lee Welch against Ronnie Garvin. It's the only time Andre ever had a handicap match where he was the two-guy team, right? But they did because Andre was French and Ronnie was French Canadian. He got him to, and he respected him. He got him to do a little deal. I don't know that Andre knew that film camera was up in the fucking bleachers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He may not have known it was film, but he also liked Ronnie Garvin because they were both French Canadian. Well, exactly. Not French Canadian, but French.
Well, but Andre had moved to Quebec and lived there for years. So, blah blah blah. But anyway, yeah, Ronnie's beating him up in the corner, and Andre's selling, and then Ronnie hit him with the table in the ring, and fucking all this shit. And we used that to Smoky Mountain Wrestling 15 years later, that footage to,
for Night of
publicize Ronnie. Yeah.
Commercial. Hold on. So it was the fan who was secretively recording that match. That match wasn't meant to be recorded. Correct?
No, not a fan. No. It was not a fan.
It wasn't a fan. Okay.
It was the office.
Got you.
Yeah. It was the promotion, but I don't know the name of the guy. There was a guy there that did all kinds of stuff like that. Videos and stuff. They did special on some guys, and they'd show it, and the thing was not to show the ending of it. So right after, I think the single was, I think maybe the table or the chair. When I hit him with a chair, and he went down and everything, they quit. They only did like 3 or 4 minutes of filming at first, the start of the match.
Right.
And they just, they made sure they didn't want no tape of it,
Okay.
But it was not a fan, no.
Got you.
I think YouTube has got it on YouTube. The beginning
of that match. Well,
yep. Some people told me that. It's on
there's
YouTube.
There's a couple. There was a couple of non-WWE matches that I want to hear your commentary on. I want to do the Jake the Snake Roberts match that you've had. I definitely want to do the Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And then once I find the one with Andre the Giant, I want to get your commentary on that one as well too. But there's certain matches definitely want to have a do-over with with your commentary on it. But let's hear what some more stuff that Cornette had to say.
Fucking all this shit. And we used that in Smoky Mountain Wrestling 15 years later, that footage to,
for Night of
publicize Ronnie. Yeah. But nevertheless, so that's the thing, is that Ronnie was very legitimate, and and also if you go back and do look at the matches he had with Flair in 86, 87 on TBS or house shows or whatever, I don't know what's out there on YouTube. Remember, he's in his early 40s at that point, and in that kind of condition, and going that hard for that long. He was amazing. That's why he take the job, guys, and because he didn't want to work with a guy that was just coming in, flabbier than a fucking flat tire, and Mike Jackson is, smarting him up and giving him a ride up there, right? He did not. How did Thez put it? He didn't brook that type of shenanigan. So he would take them down and put them in holes, whether they liked it or not, and take their own fingers and stick them up their own noses and make them pick their own, because nobody fucked with Ronnie Garvin, right? He'd slap on you. And then, when you got Garvin and Wyndham against the Midnight Express, or Garvin versus Flair, or any of the main event matches on television, then he was one of the best workers in the fucking locker room. He could sell and he could fight back, and his shit looked good. And you knew it was there when he was exchanging the chops with Wahoo McDaniel or whatever. They were fucking hitting each other harder than I'd care to be hit. But like I said, when I worked with him, he's throwing punches at my head that I'm selling because I can feel his hand and they look like they're killing me. But I'm okay. He was very, very good. How did we get started with that?
Well, we were talking about Ronnie Garvin, but hey, you brought up Roy Lee Welch. The first time I ever heard of him, Eddie Mansfield's IWF aired in New York in like 1992, 1993. And they're building him up on that show like he's a legend I should know.
Okay. Yep, that was the end of that one. Yeah, so you terrified old Jim Cornette, didn't you?
I never realized that. I like him. He's a good guy. I've always liked him.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. A lot of, I think we'll do that in the next episode, but they had a poll. They took a poll and they said, who remember Ron Garvin as heavyweight champion in NWA? And a lot of people poured in. And stuff like that. Even as far as my green screen, the back of my green screen for the TikTok, well, I'll upload it on YouTube, but the back of my green screen for the TikTok is the picture of you holding the heavyweight champion of the world for the NWA title.
Yeah.
That. So, listen, I know the fans are pouring in right now. Guys, for you to see this whole interview, I'm actually recording it right now with Rugged Ronnie Garvin himself. It will be uploaded on Don Devine on my YouTube channel. So all you have to do is click underneath my bio, and don't be afraid to drop a couple of ducats in the Cash App to help keep the lights on and the bills rolling, or the bills taken care of. It'll be uploaded possibly today. I'm looking to do something special with yourself, Ron, if you're available tomorrow morning, to do something with the Royal Rumble. Tomorrow is the Royal Rumble. And I want to discuss the times that you was in the Royal Rumble. It was 1990, but that's tomorrow. We'll cover that tomorrow if you're available tomorrow morning. We'll see depending on your schedule. Yep, we'll definitely do it. Now, next up on the list, let's see. Okay, I want to discuss something that happened this Wednesday. This is a little bit of news, a little bit definitely sad news about the airplane crash that happened in New York City. All right. It was President Trump confirmed Thursday that there are no survivors after an American Airlines plane and Army helicopter collided in the air over Washington, D.C. Wednesday night. The search and rescue operation became a recovery mission in the early morning hours, officials said. The flight from Wichita, Kansas, sorry for butchering that up, collided with the military chopper while approaching runway 33 at Reagan National Airport around 9 p.m., according to the Federal Aviation Administration. There were 64 people aboard American flight 5,324, with the 28 bodies recovered from the river so far, officials said Thursday afternoon. The bodies of all three soldiers who were on the Army helicopter had been recovered as well. So, what's your thoughts about that? I know you used to fly your own airplane and stuff like that. Now,
Yeah, I
my,
got about 9,000 hours, and
yeah,
I'll tell you, uh, it's sad, because I guarantee that could have been avoided. But human error. I personally think it's human error. Airplanes are working fine. Helicopter, it's not a mechanical problem. It's a human problem. And even the best in the world, if you look at records of crashes in the past, there was even pilots that had 100,000 hours uh, screw up. Uh, it's easy to screw up,
right,
especially when you got a place like Washington D.C. around there. There's too many airplanes in the sky. Too
right,
many airplanes to be controlled by. There's a lack of controllers. Supposedly, I saw that
right,
they need more controllers, and supposedly this flight was handled by one controller, which there should have been two of them. You're talking about people, airplanes moving fast in the sky and everything, and so I think it'll come out, but it's going to take a while. I think, unless the controller screwed up and because they're going to go over through the whole flight.
right,
Personally, the airplane is on final, almost on the runway, seconds from being on the ground and safe.
right.
So the helicopter to be in the wrong place. That's
Mm,
that's the way I look at it. And the people in the helicopter had a lot of time, a lot of hours. You know, it was a good crew. They were training because the militaries train a lot,
mhm.
but and it could have been in the communication. They could have understood, well, this heading, this altitude. I think the helicopter might have been too high. That's what I think. I heard something on TV and it makes sense to me. The helicopter should have been, they said, below 200 feet because an helicopter can fly low versus an airplane. Because the
Right.
airplanes, they don't have the option of just going up when they need to. It takes time. So I think it was helicopter, but
Well,
you
th-
know,
they mentioned that the plane was taking its normal route, was about to land,
yeah,
taking its normal route, but it was
yeah.
the helicopter. They said the helicopter could even turn the other way if it wanted to. So they're trying to figure out why it
Well,
actually.
if they've seen it, it was nighttime. And even with all these lights in the skies, because there was a lot of airplanes flying that night. You know, I mean, they're all over the place. Actually, there's too much traffic. For the way that it's set up, too much.
So
So it only takes one little mistake, and to screw up. You're supposed to be below 200, or they were at 400. Well, maybe they didn't hear it. Maybe they didn't understand it because the controllers will tell you what to do. They'll give you headings. They'll
right,
give you altitude. They'll even tell you to slower your speed, especially airplanes on final. If you're catching up with the one that's in front of you, they make you slow down. There's a lot involved. But I think the helicopter was why it wasn't supposed to be. I might be wrong, but I can't say for sure.
right,
But that's the scenario that I have, and I read on a lot of stuff about uh, the FAA, the controllers. The controllers supposedly they've hired people that are probably not qualified because of politics. Politics. They got hired not for what they know, is for what they are.
right,
When you get a job, you should get a job for your ability to do your job, to do the best job you can, not because you know your race, your whatever, your color, your age, or because you got to be very qualified to be a controller. I mean, very. That's a serious. You have people's lives in your hands when you're a controller. All these airplanes flying around, and one small mistake. There's a lot of accidents. If you look back in the history, because I used to get all the I had all the accidents that happened. I
Mhm.
read on way back. I used to be very interested because I was flying at the time a lot, and it was interesting to find out how stupid sometimes things can accident can happen
Right.
from people that have qualified people that are. It's human error, and you'll never eliminate human error. You know, that's impossible. Even when you're the best, sometimes you may. I call it a brain fart.
Right. Right.
You know, for 10 seconds or a minute or whatever. You know, and it costs lives.
So
It's
I mean,
sad. It's especially for the families and the people that are. Very sad.
I know you've mentioned the light situation because what I was going to bring to your attention, I said I know these planes, these commercial planes and helicopters, they're equipped with lights and everything. But you've mentioned something very interesting. Could it have been a situation that there was too many lights that
Well,
it becomes a
could
blur?
confused. It
Right.
could have got confused with another airplane because if you look in the dark and you see all these lights, but you don't know the altitude they're at. Daytime, you'd have a better chance. So, and if they probably just listen to the controllers. That's usually what they do. They listen to the controllers. Your heading, where you're going, your altitude, you know, and the helicopters. Well, then their job is to look around because they can see all the way around that helicopter. You
Right.
know,
Right.
front, the back, the side. You know, and that's why usually there's four of them in those helicopters. I read. There was only three, so maybe there was a blind spot.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it's all going to come out. All the communication and the talking and all of that. It's going to come out. And you got to give it a chance. People. Got all kinds of. I even read saw something on TV about because there was two people in the airplane that had asked for political asylum. They were from Russia.
Mhm.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see.
Yeah. And in other words, they're trying to blame Russia maybe to cause the accident. You know,
Because
it's so absurd.
right, right.
There was no bomb or nothing. But did you see the video where you see when they hit the explosion?
No. Oh
There's
yeah,
a
when the
there's a
two
video, but way a
yes,
long distance.
yes, yes,
You see when the impact it exploded.
yes, yes, yes. That was yeah. It was a shame. It was
Yeah.
definitely
Well, the good part about it, I don't think anybody suffered. Not very long. You know, maybe seconds. Nobody survived it, and
well.
there's
Once it hit the water,
it was
once they
shallow water, 6 to 7 feet, 5 feet, very
right,
shallow water.
right. Wow.
So
Well,
yeah, it's very, very, very sad.
yeah. What are you gonna
But
do?
accidents will always happen, but they'll find out because they're very well equipped. Sometimes it takes up to a year. I've seen some accidents. It took almost a year for the FAA, to find what went wrong.
Mhm. I wanted to definitely yeah. Once that happened, and then well, yesterday I was thinking about. I said that's why I wanted to do this interview and actually speak to you about that because I know your experience. You're a licensed aviator and stuff like that. So I know who better to ask than somebody who has experience within that
Yeah,
in that background and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely a tragedy that happened. Prayers go out to the family who lost.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I'll keep them in my prayers.
yep. So
My name is Marvelous Mike Morales. I'm going to destroy Dean the Destroyer. Ah!
My name is Dean, the Destroyer, and I'm about to destroy Marvelous Mike Morales. I'm coming for you!
event of the evening. Making his way down the aisle, weighing 2,000 megatons. He is from out of this world. His name is Marvelous Mike Morales. And now, his opponent, making his way down the aisle, from parts unknown, weighing in at 195 pounds. Here is Dean the Destroyer.
Step into the squared circle. Fight. Round one. Fight.
Yes.
All right, bet.
1 point for blue.
Let me lock in.
Dean the Destroyer. Round two. Fight.
I'm gonna lock in. Unless you
1
get that
point
one.
for red. Marvelous Mike Morales. Final round. Fight. And the winner is red. Marvelous Mike Morales. Hey guys, and remember, step into the squared circle and get your t-shirt today.
Right now!
Yeah.
Just go to dondavine@gmail.com. That's DONDAVINE@gmail.com. And we're going to need your Cash App name. We're going to need your full name. We're going to need your mailing address and t-shirt size, as well as t-shirt color. It comes in black and athletic gray. And after you're done doing that, you could send your payment to $Don Devine. That's $DONDAVINE.
Okay. But yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna be back at it again. I don't know.
Okay.
So, you see, I'm telling the fans about hitting the Cash App because the bills have to get paid. I don't know if you noticed, the lights that keep going dimming in and out. It feels like the Undertaker is trying to come in. It's like you're trying to come to the podcast too. It's like, okay, the more the merrier.
Undertaker.
Man. No, they've been doing some work with the like Con Edison and stuff like that. They've been out here working and stuff like that. So
That looks good.
it's been a little crazy on my end, but what are you gonna do? So what's your plans for the rest of the day, Ron?
Oh, not much. Just bought herself a new fifth wheel. Well, not new. It's used. It's about 2 years old, 3 years old. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's 40 feet long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we'll be moving from this one. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to take this one home. I'm going to leave the fifth wheel down here.
Okay.
It's huge.
Wow.
Well, we're going to leave it on site here. So next year when we come down, it's just like coming home.
Nice.
That's the part about it. You don't have to bring all kinds of stuff down here from home. My wife already has 2 sets of dishes, 2 sets of this, 2 sets of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'll take a picture of it and give it to you later.
Nice. And how's the RV coming?
How's the what?
The RV.
How's it coming? Oh, it's in the park.
It's
It's a
in the
couple that was they're selling it. It's
okay.
2 years old. You know, they're going home. They're getting old. In Florida, you got so many older people that sometimes you know their health. I think it's over the husband's health,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so they decided to sell. And it looks like brand new. I mean, it's just very comfortable, very roomy. So next year we'll really have a good. We probably won't get it. It's in the park here. We probably won't, it won't be ready for probably another week or two.
Enough.
Yeah,
Got,
they got to empty it, all their stuff, because they're going home.
gotcha. Gotcha.
We're gonna have to empty these our stuff in here into that one. We're gonna be busy for a couple of days. You know, well
Okay.
we do it in parts. You don't do it in one day.
Well, they said slow and steady wins the race.
What?
Slow and steady
Yeah,
wins the
yeah,
race.
yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, listen, guys. Thank you for joining us once again. Um, well, this was the first time we're doing this on TikTok. I hope it went well. I'll probably mess around with it for like a second or two once we log off, Rod.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, I guess let me know what your schedule is. Let me know later on and stuff like that. But
What time? I'll be here in the morning because we're
tomorrow,
not going to the gym. Oh, yeah, we better do it about how long is it going to be?
probably an hour, hour and a half, the most.
Okay, well, let's do it at 8
Eight,
because
eight.
I got to go to Tampa tomorrow.
Okay, so
I'm
eight.
going to Tampa to the luncheon. There's a luncheon where all the wrestlers come.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
Tampa.
Right.
Yeah.
Stories,
So,
stories. Oh man.
well, I don't know who's going to be there, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of them. You know, and,
Nice.
uh,
Nice.
and that's why I go. Get to run into old buddies. And just and it's once a year. Some years they have it twice, but this year they're having it just one time. It's at the O'Brien's Pub
Okay.
on Dale Mabry in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
So that's where I'll be going. It starts around noon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there about noon. It's about 3 hours. We have lunch and just talk and remember old memories and old stories.
Right. Well, before I let you go, I wanted to find out what's your thoughts about Ric Flair saying he has one more match in him. He's gonna probably wrestle one more time.
I don't know. I don't know if he needs money that bad. Jeez, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but I'm not him.
Right.
I mean, to me, let people remember the way you used to look.
Right.
When I quit, basically, I didn't do much after that. The only thing I did is I went to a few places and do special referee,
Right.
And which was fine because referee, you don't get beat up usually. But I went there, just to, I don't know. Well, Jim Cornette, I did that for him. I refereed a couple of times.
Okay.
But I said, nah, you don't want to keep going. I was only 40. Let's see, I was 45 years old. Yeah, 45 years old when I retired completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still had a lot in the gas tank, Ron. You still had a lot in the gas tank.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
Oh man.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I'll be back down here next year, God willing.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You get a certain age, man. Everything belongs to the Lord.
Yep. You're right about that. You're right about that. So, hey, listen, thank you guys on TikTok. Yeah, I want you guys to subscribe once again to Don Devine on YouTube. That's Don Devine on YouTube. The link is located at the bio, underneath my bio, you'll be able to see this whole complete interview on YouTube. It will be uploaded. I'm gonna make it my business to upload it today, so that way we could focus on the interview tomorrow. We're going to be covering the Royal Rumble, Rugged Ronnie Garvin's time at the Royal Rumble 1990. We'll be discussing some stuff. Maybe he have some stories behind the scenes, the preparation on what it takes to be part of a pay-per-view, especially something like the Royal Rumble. So guys, thank you once again. So Ron, I guess we'll do it again tomorrow morning. So
Yep.
it'll be 8 o'clock my time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same time. We're on the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good.
Yep.
Have a great day.
Stories from the road to the ring. We're
All
out.
the listeners, have a good day.
You too. Thank you. You too
All
as
right.
well. All right.
See ya.
All right.